Knock.
Thomas here with Much Props, going to give you another how-to video. Today I am putting that new helmet template of mine to good use once again. I previously made the Mr. Knight helmet and a Deadpool mask, and I thought, what else is this shape? And the nostalgia of the 90s came into my ear and whispered,
maybe you should make a Spawn.
So that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be a lot of extra pieces added to the top of it, so I'll definitely include those new pieces in a template down below. But without further ado, let's make a Spawn mask. Let's get to building. I have done 2 other videos using this same base template, so I thought I'd skip some steps and go ahead and move on with the newest part. So if you want to see how I got to this point, go back to my Mr. Knight build or my Deadpool to catch up. I'm looking at an image from the 1997 movie, and unlike various images from the comics, he is not a smooth-faced anti-hero. They went hog wild with the muscle and sinew look, so I thought I would show how I made the pattern that goes on top of the base mask. I lay down some blue painter's tape and doodle on the general lines I want. When I pull it off, I reinforce the back with tape so it holds up, then I cut it out. I hold it onto the spot it will go to make sure that it fits like I want it to, and then trace it onto poster board. This step isn't really necessary for everyone, but since I am sharing this pattern with you awesome people, I do this step to make it easier to read and less colored ink on your printer when you go to print it out. I also put instructions on the poster board like naming it, which side it goes on, foam size, angle cuts, etc. All of that's explained in the cover letter of the template. I went ahead and held the piece up to the base and traced their placement, but before I glued them down, I wanted to add the muscle striations where they go under the overlays. It would be a lot harder to get up close to the edges once those pieces were tacked in place, so I take a stone bit on my rotary tool and carve some lines out. Make sure to wear a respirator and work in a well ventilated area while sanding EVA foam. You don't want to breathe in the dust particles. I try to label my parts with anatomical positions when I can to help you know where it goes. Went ahead and put striations on most of the parts before I glued them on for the same reasons as I explained earlier. I left the mouth overlay 2 undone as it was on the top layer and the easiest to get to, and I wasn't quite sure how the striation line should go because it veers off in a bunch of different places. I contact cement both overlays and the base, then it's just a simple placing them in line. Once all the muscles were in place on the face, I put down the eye overlays next. This kind of reminds me of Wolverine or Venom or even a Batarang when it's on. The same steps as before: trace, contact cement both the base and overlay, then tack it into place. After I attached it, I went back and sanded in some indentions around the eyes to make him look a little angrier. I had to wait to put on the back straps till the eye parts were on because it butts up against them. I remembered watching the Spawn movie as a kid and thinking that the CGI was just so amazing and the special effects. Went and watched it before I made this build and realized we've come a long way since 1997. Google Spawn movie devil to refresh your memory if it's been a while and you don't remember. I added some texture with Mod Podge and kinda helps me to bridge the transition between the overlays and the base, getting into those little undercut areas. This can also help you to smooth out areas if you have some rough patches before you paint. Two coats of Plastidip. I know some of you are wondering why I didn't just use black Plastidip, because I was out and I still have a case of gray and I needed to use it. Plus, it makes it a lot easier when I go to put on the white acrylic because it will take less coats on gray than it would on black. Once my paint had some time to dry, I did some brown washes in all the recesses. It helps make the details stand out a little more, and of course makes it dirtier like I like to do with a lot of stuff. I do just a little bit around the white areas too. It's pretty simple. You just wet down the acrylic paint, smush it into the areas with a big brush, and wipe off the high points with a paper towel. Spawn kind of has a slimy look to him, and since I did the wash, it dulled the surface up a little bit. So again, with the Mod Podge, I know I'm busting it out all over the place. I am using it to seal my top coat because I can add just a little more texture, and since it's flexible, it'll mean that I have less cracks when I'm trying to pull this mask over my big ginormous noggin. Last, the eyes. I decided to go low tech and just paint on some sheer material to give the effect of glowing. You could definitely take it a step further and add lights, but I just chose not to. I glue in the material on the inside, then paint them. Since I was going to make it look like it was glowing with paint, I wasn't worried about getting it around the eye overlays because I faded it out to the brows anyways. And we are finished. Here is the end result. I really like how this one turned out. The texture on it is pretty awesome. I don't know how well it picks up on camera, but not only do I have the striations of like the muscle ligament type stuff, but it also has this nice texture from the Mod Podge that just kind of sets it over the top. I could have easily gone in and added LEDs. There's definitely a space to do the wiring and stuff in the brow and stuff, but I didn't really want to have to deal with the lighting, so I just kept it simple and tried to paint a glow effect, even to the point of like putting it up on the brow itself too, so that it looked like it was glowing. But yeah, maybe you'll try and make one of these yourselves and impress your friends with your ability to pull something from the 90s into the 2022s and I guess make something epic. Maybe you'll get some...
Yay!
And inevitably, they're going to ask you, how'd you make that? You can give them one of these. Tell them, much props. Just like the others, it is snug.
Peace out.
If you enjoy what I do here on YouTube and want to see more epic builds like this one, please consider joining these awesome people listed here with me over on Patreon to build a bigger, better, more creative community together.